Pele and Diego Maradona are undoubtedly the two greatest players in football history. These South American legends revolutionized this sport and achieved incredible feats playing for Brazil and Argentina. Pele emerged very young, making his debut for Santos at just 15 years old. He played from 1956 to 1974, scoring an incredible 91 goals in 16 games. In addition to the two Copa Libertadores, 1962 and 1963, and Intercontinental Cups, 1962 and 1963, he won 10 Sao Paulo State Championships, 5 Brazilian Cups and 2 Rio Sao Paulo tournaments. He formed a legendary duo with other stars like Coutinho, Pepe and Zito. For the Brazilian national team, he played in 4 World Cups, 1958, 1962, 1966 and 1970. In the first, he was just 17 years old when he scored 2 goals in the final against Sweden. In 1962, in Chile, another title, defeating Czechoslovakia in the final by 3-1, with Pelé scoring 1 goal. Maradona began to shine for Argentinos Juniors in 1976, at just 16 years old. He moved to Boca Juniors in 1981, winning titles and impressing with his maddening dribbles. The following year, he was signed by Barcelona in Spain for a record $5 million at the time. His greatest glory came defending the Argentine national team. At the 1986 World Cup in Mexico, Maradona scored one of the most controversial goals in history, using his hand to score against England in the quarterfinals. Later, he would comment that it was a little with the head and a little with the hand of God. In the same match, he scored another goal voted the most beautiful in World Cup history, dribbling past half the English team before finishing. Maradona led Argentina to the title against Germany, being named the best player of the tournament. After a spell at Napoli in Italy, he moved to Sevilla in Spain in 1992. He played his last World Cup in 1994 in the United States, but was banned for doping. He retired in 1997 at the age of 37, leaving a legacy of genius and controversy on and off the field. The rivalry between the two football giants began at the 1979 World Cup, with Pelé's Brazil winning 3-1. In the 1980s, it was up to Maradona to respond, eliminating the Brazilian national team in 1982 and winning the 1986 World Cup in great style. Their countries and fans heatedly debated who was the greatest of all time. Pelé scored a total of 1,281 goals in 1,363 games during his professional career, which lasted from 1956 to 1977. Some details about his goals. For Santos, 1956 to 1974, 91 goals in 16 games. For the Brazilian national team, 1957 to 1971, 95 goals in 113 games. For New York Cosmos, 1975 to 1977, 37 goals in 64 games. For youth clubs, 7 goals. In unofficial games, 51 goals. So 1,281 goals scored, averaging 0.94 goals per game. A truly phenomenal mark. At Santos, Pelé averaged almost 1 goal per game alongside other stars like Coutinho, Pepe and Zito. His top scorers were in the Sao Paulo Championship, where he scored 467 goals, and the Brazilian Cup, with 141 goals. For the Brazilian national team, he rattled the nets in World Cups, qualifiers and friendlies. He scored important goals in the 1958, 1962 and 1970 World Cup triumphs. By the numbers and incredible consistency over the years, Pelé holds the record for top scorer in professional football history. To this day, no player has come close to matching the King's impressive goal-scoring average. Diego Maradona scored a total of 345 goals in his professional career, which lasted between 1976 and 1997. Some details about the goals scored by Maradona. For Argentinos Juniors, 1976 to 1981, 115 goals in 167 games. For Boca Juniors, 1981 to 1982, 28 goals in 40 games. For Barcelona, 1982 to 1984, 38 goals in 58 games. For Napoli, 1984 to 1991, 115 goals in 259 games. For the Argentine national team, 1977 to 1994, 34 goals in 91 games. Other teams: Sevilla, Newell's Old Boys, etc., 15 goals. So a total of 345 goals scored in 726 games played by Maradona, averaging 0.48 goals per game. His goal numbers aren't as high as other great football names like Pele or Romario. But Maradona stood out more for his brilliance, passes and dribbles rather than finishing. He is considered by many to be the greatest player in history, despite scoring fewer goals than other stars. Pele and Maradona revolutionized football, and the title of best of all time still generates discussion. But there is no doubt that these stars, with their outstanding goals, impossible dribbles, and outstanding titles, wrote immortal pages in the history of the sport. The dispute over the title of best of all time still yields heated discussions today among fans and experts. But one thing is certain: Pele and Maradona wrote unforgettable pages in the sport's history and enchanted the world with their immense talent on the field. They left a legacy of brilliant plays, titles, records, and an iconic rivalry that still echoes today. Leave your comment. Who was the best player of all time?